Hello dear viewers, today's going to be a good one, so let's just get right into it, shall we? Let's chat about Selene, Underworld, Origins. I'm Andrew Lapamardo, your narrator, and this is Marvelous Videos. The Underworld franchise is the only series in which leather-wearing vampires attempt to combat enormous hounds with BDSM-like whips, and that is to state, the Underworld franchise is completely kick-ass. This modern-day Gothic epic, which debuted in 2003, depicts the narrative of an ancient struggle between a bunch of vampires and the full-moon woodland creatures known as Lycans. Selene, who is a death dealer, has committed herself to rid the world of werewolves once and for all, and gets caught in the middle.
That's enough. You come with me.
I hope I live long enough to see Victor choke the life from you.
Bill Nighy plays the role of a vampire elder who engages in a fistfight with Michael, a werewolf/vampire hybrid. The entire series is nothing short of remarkable, but like any movie dealing with profound lore and ages of myth, the Underworld series also dabbles in memories, prequels, and overall affection, which makes delving into it a bit frightening. But we at Marvelous Videos have got for you the best vampire. Today, we'll be talking about Selene, the series' gorgeous main protagonist.
Get down!
Selene was born in Hungary in a Hungarian household. Her dad was a well-known architect who assisted in the building of the stronghold for a general called Victor. The stronghold was actually a dungeon built to house the Lycan elder named William Corvinus. The latter has been sentenced for his murderous and destructive actions as a person non grata for Victor. Selene was, unfortunately, the only one alive who had wandered through the hallways of the strongholds after Lycans allegedly slaughtered her family. However, she was unaware that her family had been murdered by Victor personally, and she mistakenly assumed that Victor had protected her from the onslaught of the Lycan. Victor turned her into a vampire the very night after her family was murdered. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Selene's tragic early life. Selene was birthed and raised in a Hungarian family, as shown in the first and second films. Her dad, mom, her elder sister Cecilia, and her infant twin nieces. Selene is thought to be born in the year 1383. Selene's dad was approached at some time by a strong warlord called Victor with a contract to construct and build a jail. According to the movie's novel, Selene's dad was a well-known stonemason and blacksmith, and the commission had required the construction of a new dungeon and a jail beneath Victor's stronghold, as well as the striking of two distinct keys for one chamber in particular. When the prison was done being constructed, Selene was about 6 or 7 years old. Selene becomes an aunt to her elder sister's twin girls 7 years afterward, at the age of 13 or 14.
Have the key to William's cell.
And I'm the map.
During the cold season of Lucien's getaway, about 6 years later, Victor began to fear that Lucien might have knowledge of William, who is the originator of all werewolves, and given that Lucien, regardless of whether he realized it or not, was now retaining one of the secret keys to William's prison and its information confidentially. And in order to maintain the secrecy of the site of William's prison and its information confidentially, Victor mercilessly slaughtered everyone associated in the prison's construction and anyone that had visited or seen the stronghold. According to the novelization of Underworld Evolution, Selene was 19 years old when she was transformed into a vampire. She is later thought to think that the perpetrators of her family's death were Lycans, and also that Victor had spared her from them. When the Lycans brought him to see the property of her family, Victor said he was tracking them. Victor promised Selene that she could avenge them all if she had the power of a vampire.
I'm sorry I doubted you. Fear not, my child. absolution will be yours.
Selene was the lone survivor who had gone through the fortress's passageways. Victor did not murder her due to her likeness to his late daughter, and his opinion that she was most probably much too little to recall the exact site of the stronghold. Selene went on to be a death dealer, battling the Lycans for retribution for the crime she felt that they had done against her family. At some time, she also went on to become the reluctant target of Craven, who was the Coven's regent and his ardent affection. Becoming a vampire, Selene adored her human family, and after their assassination, she turned to Victor as a surrogate father, idolizing him and turning to him when the Coven was in jeopardy. At one point, Victor vows to adore Selene like a daughter, referring to her as my child.
Forgive me, my child.
It wasn't the Lycan.
Craven believes that Victor turned Selene into a vampire as a substitute for Sonia, whom was his own daughter, whom he killed. Because of her reputation as Victor's favorite, there appeared to be some societal pressures on Selene inside the Coven. For example, she is obligated to visit Amelia's welcome party. Victor prowled into Selene's family farm one night, killing and feeding on them, one by one. When he came upon Selene, however, he could not bear the thought of draining her dry, as Craven describes her, who reminded him so much of his precious Sonia. That night, Victor converted Selene and turned her into a vampire. As per the Underworld evolution novels, Selene was thought to be 19 at the time, and convinced her that the murderers of her family were Lycans and that Victor had spared her from them.
They're gone. They're there, my child. You are safe.
Victor is the individual Selene is closest to after the death of her family and before meeting Michael Corvin. She is very devoted and respectful to Victor, accepting his directions without hesitation and trusting him completely. She reveres Victor's leadership abilities and power. She is thankful to him for protecting her from the wrath of the Lycans, who she assumed had killed her family, allowing her to avenge the death of her family by transforming her into a vampire. Selene appears to regard Victor as a father figure. Her love for him and her eagerness to make him happy with her achievements clearly indicate this. And Craven alludes to Victor as her dark father at one point.
I bet you do. But let me tell you a little something about your beloved dark father.
Although Selene never openly speaks to Victor in such terms, she appears to feel that he has a lot of love and confidence for her. Selene has such an unflinching confidence in Victor that, when she suspects Craven has abandoned the Coven, she intentionally fractures the chain to wake Victor ahead of time and request his assistance. When Victor dismisses Selene's allegations and condemns her for breaching the Covenant by interacting with a Lycan, the ordinarily stoic Selene is severely troubled.
You have broken the chain and the covenant. You must be judged.
This episode seemed to have shaken her faith in Victor, although she stays devoted to him. When Craven tells Selene that Victor was the one who had murdered her family, and that the only reason he had spared her was because she resembled his child Sonia, whom he had also murdered, Selene's first reaction is to disregard these assertions as lies. However, these charges, as well as Victor's previous betrayal of Selene, had put a cloud of suspicion in Selene's mind, and when Victor arrived on the scene, a distressed Selene confronted him about his conduct. Selene is distraught when she discovers that Victor had murdered her family, and he had been fooling her for eons. She is equally appalled by his cold-blooded murder of his own child and unborn granddaughter. This revelation, combined with Victor's threats against Michael, successfully converts Selene's feelings for Victor into hatred. To safeguard Michael and get revenge for her family, Selene is willing to murder Victor. However, she appears to be horrified and devastated by Victor's death for a brief period. Following the occurrences of Underworld Awakening, Selene has no lasting passion for Victor or guilt for murdering him, claiming that he deceived her first and that his collapse was caused by his own deeds.
I don't have the clearance.
You're lying.
What makes Selene so deadly? Selene's vampiric talents are far more significant than most of her vampire relatives due to her sire, Victor, and her respectable age, and grow much more robust following the absorption of Alexander Corvinus's blood and augmented by the Nordic Coven's cocooning cemetery. She is a seasoned death dealer and a resilient combatant, regularly displaying a talent for spontaneity when confronted with particularly difficult situations or adversaries. Shooting out the floor she was standing on to escape Lycans that were viciously attacking her, splitting Marcus's wing talon to injure him with it, and defeating Quint by deciding to leave a silver grenade within him after pummeling into his abdomen. She can even hold her own against hybrids, such as Michael, Marcus, and Eve. This is due to her vampire and Corvinus strain's evolved physiology. Selene's talents were substantially improved after she was resurrected due to the Nordic Coven's holy ritual. Her agility, power, and endurance have all improved. Selene is able to move so quickly that she appears to be nothing more than a blur. Selene is also capable of attacking while traveling at that speed, slaying numerous Lycans before they know what has happened. She could also maneuver about Marius so quickly that he didn't even notice her movements until later, leaving him defenseless. She demonstrated her ability to pull out the backbone of Marius after his transformation using one arm with ease. Selene also appears to be able to resist many strikes by Marius in his advanced Lycan form with only minor injuries. It is unclear whether her recovery factor and senses were enhanced in any manner. Selene's an advanced vampire who is over 6 centuries old, possessing incredible power, even for an immortal. Even as an ordinary vampire, she could nonchalantly brutalize any person, even lifting people several feet off the ground one-handed. Even before her hybridization, it was possible for her to overwhelm and kill inferior death dealers, as well as successfully take on a small squad of Hungarian policemen and even engage in direct battle with a Lycan. After her transformation, she could smash her palm clean through a Lycan and fight Marcus. Her most amazing act of strength, so far, was demonstrated in Awakening, when she pushed herself into a van while both she as well as the vehicle were going at high speeds, forcing it to roll over many times in the air itself. Selene showed no indication of strain or exhaustion after that. She is shown diving from a precipice at least 100 feet, which is about 30 meters or 12 stories high, and landing safely. She can withstand a shotgun blast to the belly at point-blank range without flinching. She proved herself to be able to withstand Quint Lane's devastating strikes in his upgraded Lycan form, making her considerably more robust than ordinary members of her kind. She can do incredible feats of power without tiring and can survive the punishing depths of the deep ocean without the use of a wetsuit or breathing device. As an advanced vampire, Selene is resistant to the lycanthrope virus, as demonstrated in Underworld Awakening, in which even when a Lycan bites hard on her shoulder, she continues to fight without displaying any sign of pain or fatigue. Even in her weaker form, Selene was capable of surviving and healing rapidly from a bullet wound to the skull. She can cure wounds in minutes, including those caused by sunshine and a shotgun blast. Her regeneration abilities were enhanced since becoming a greatly evolved vampire, to the point that she could resist Marcus's wing talon becoming impaled in her chest without experiencing any apparent consequences, and survive being shot through the head and other areas of the body. She is also shown to be able to remove bullets from her body. She can heal from specific injuries relatively rapidly by drinking blood. Selene was fast enough to race through a group of officers and incapacitate them without them becoming capable of keeping up with her moves. This trait was boosted further once she assimilated the original Corvinus strain in her genome. She is also depicted dashing between 2 columns of armed security while slicing their necks with a scalpel and then vanishes in an instant. She also exhibits teleportation-like speed when she goes into a researcher's residence and travels right behind him and in a blink of an eye. She can move so quickly that even immortal creatures have a hard time keeping up with her. Selene is an expert with a wide range of weapons, including medieval and contemporary. Her preferred weapons include the Walther PP-9A and the customized H&K USP 9mm with silver nitrate grenades and throwing stars, as per her official profile. She also wields silver-plated hunter's knives as well as a middle-aged blade that she used to sever Victor's skull. Selene prefers Beretta pistols. She also knows how to use a Remington 870 combat shotgun. She is also skilled in a variety of hand-to-hand combat techniques. Selene's combat powers are described as second to none. The entirety of the fascinating Underworld series revolves around a single vampire whose name is Selene, and much is dependent on her and all of her actions. Kate Beckinsale has played the part with unrivaled grace for well over a decade. Selene is an outstanding heroine character because she demonstrates sincerity, morality, compassion, and a strong desire to do the right thing. As the conflict progresses and new foes appear, she consistently and unabashedly remains true to herself as a powerful female character. Underworld does have all it takes to become a major TV series, or the brand may create an entirely new storyline for Selene, where she might not have a significant role in favor of a whole new relaunch. Whatever the future holds, we can all fully agree that Selene is and will always be a fan favorite for the young and the old alike. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.